What I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about the Irish motor insurance database. So what's the problem here we're trying to fix? Uninsured driving, as we probably all know, is a big issue. The MIBI estimates that about 7.5%, or indeed 1 in 13 vehicles on Irish roads are uninsured. So we need some sort of a central way or a central database to be able to check what vehicles are insured and what vehicles are not insured. As a matter of interest, I was reading an article only just this week from France. The French have about 45 million vehicles on their roads, and they issue some statistics to say only 1.8% of those vehicles are uninsured. That's still an awful lot of vehicles uninsured, given the size of the market, but relative to where we are at 7.5%, it just illustrates how far we have to go on this journey. Uninsured driving and hit-and-run driving, it costs somebody. Somebody has to pay. The MIBI pays about 60 to 70 million per year in claims. Where does this money come from? It comes from levies from insurance companies that are members of the MIBI. However, ultimately, this money comes from your pockets and my pockets, law-abiding motorists, where it costs on average 30 to 35 euros on every policy. So it is a cost that somebody has to bear. So the Irish Motor Insurance Database, what is it? And what underpins it? The Irish Motor Insurance Database, it was set up to comply with Section 78A of the Road Traffic Act. There's also some new requirements in the Road Traffic and Roads Bill 2021, which was alluded to by the Minister earlier, and we're hoping that this is going to be passed during November, and then it will be signed into law, hopefully fairly quickly. So the data that we're collecting into this database includes insurance policy details, high-level details, vehicle registration details, named driver details. And this data is going to be shared with An Garda Síochána and with the Department of Transport. In terms of what's in the IMID, as we like to refer to it as, the two parts of the database contains different data. The Motor Third-Party Liability Database contains information on private motor and commercial vehicles. The database is live now since 2021, so we've been actually collecting data, albeit we haven't been able to share it with the Gardaí yet. We've been collecting data, and at this stage we have about 2.9 million vehicles in the database. But more importantly, or equally as importantly, we have 5.3 million named drivers. So not only do we know if a vehicle is insured, but we also know who is actually insured to drive those vehicles. So when Tim and his colleagues in An Garda Síochána, when they stop a vehicle, they'll be able to check, is that vehicle insured? And when they walk up to the window and they knock on the window and say, okay, show me your driver's license, etc., they'll be able to tell if that person is actually insured to drive the vehicle, which is going to be a huge step forward. The National Fleet Database then is a separate database which we use to collect information on fleet and motor trade vehicles. This database is already live. It went live in early 2022. And at this point in time, insurers are uploading high-level policy details to that database. The next step is to start uploading fleet vehicles, and we hope to be able to do that beginning in October next, which is next week, obviously. You're probably all aware of the fact that for fleet-type policies, they're normally written on a declaration basis, so the vehicles don't have to be declared to the insurer. This database will allow us to collect that information directly from the policyholders. So just getting back for a moment to the Road Traffic and Roads Bill. Dennis obviously spoke a little bit about e-scooters and e-bikes. I don't intend to touch on that, but it is fairly core to the Road Traffic and Roads Bill. The bill also contains important updates for the Road Traffic Act. And from an MIBI perspective, importantly, it will give us the legal basis to be able to share all the information that we're capturing, to be able to share that information with the Department of Transport and with An Garda Síochána. The bill also clarifies who has to provide the data, because it was a little bit ambiguous prior to this. The bill also introduces some new penalties, which to us will really help compliance. If a policyholder will commit an offence if they do not provide their data, and there's two offences. If they don't provide information to their insurer on material changes in their policy, they could be subject to a Class E fine of €500 in the District Court. More seriously, if the fleet owner does not upload their list of vehicles in their fleet to the National Fleet Database, they could be fined up to €2,500 or a Class C fine. And this should really help with compliance in terms of providing this information to the database. So who has to provide the data and what is being provided to the NFD? Insurers will provide high-level policy details to the NFD. This would include policy numbers, names of policyholders, address details, vehicle types covered, and that type of thing. However, the fleet and motor traders, they will have to provide the registration numbers of the vehicles. So if you have 10 vehicles in your fleet, or 50 or 100, whatever it is, you'll have to provide a list of each individual vehicle. The other important thing from a motor trade perspective is many of them would have what we call trade plates. They will have to identify the trade plate number or registration and put that into the database as well. In future, policyholders, i.e. fleet owners and motor traders, they will also have to provide the date of birth for any named drivers on the policy. They'll also have to provide the driver number, which is item 4D on your driver's license, if anyone has their driver's license with them. And they will also have to provide the country of origin if the driver, if their staff member or whoever is driving the vehicle under a foreign license, let's say French or a German license. This information will be really important to Tim's colleagues in An Garda Síochána. So they'll be able to very quickly assess whether the person in the driver's seat is the son or the dad, because we've all come across situations where cars might be driven and names are given, but it might be an older person or a younger person, depending on who's covered there. So some of the benefits of the IMID. From our perspective, IMID is going to be a complete game changer. Certainly from a point of view of An Garda Síochána, it will allow them to enforce the Road Traffic Act. They'll have more information available on the status of vehicles, and as well as that, on the status of the drivers that are actually behind the wheel. So they'll be armed with a lot more information. The availability of insurance data to the Gardaí will also help to improve road safety, as it will help reduce the propensity for uninsured driving by individuals who may have a relaxed attitude towards safety and the dangers that it causes to other road users. Tim will discuss this when he talks about the new innovations at An Garda Síochána. Reducing uninsured driving will also help to reduce the cost of insurance, which is a societal aim, and we heard the Minister talking about that earlier. Orla and Keith from WTW here, they will provide information on some of the financial benefits of implementing the Irish Motor Insurance Database, because we feel that it will have a significant impact on both the level of claims coming in, but also the cost of those claims and the amount of money it takes to finance the MIBI.